All right, let's talk about health care now for a moment, as the Obama administration is ramping up efforts to promote its health care law with yet another expensive ad campaign. This one comes from Minnesota. It's a group that's launching a new ad starring an iconic lumberjack figure known as Paul Bunyan.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Whoa. Whoa. Ow, ow, ow.
Minnesota, land of 10,000 reasons to get health insurance.
Babe, little help.
Welcome to MNsure.
It's pretty funny. It's a funny ad, I'll give it that. Estimates say that $1 billion will be spent on healthcare ads in 2015. Let's say that again. $1 billion will be spent to promote Obamacare by 2015. It's all part of the move that promotes the law before it takes full effect. Let's chat about it with Alan Colmes, host of the Alan Colmes Radio Show, and Katie Pavlich, the news editor at townhall.com. Both are Fox News contributors. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning. I think the Paul Bunyan ad is funny. I'm not sure that it's $1 billion funny when you take it in aggregate with all of the money that's being spent. Alan, does it strike you as excessive to have to spend this much money, $1 billion in taxpayer dollars, to let people know that they should sign up for Obamacare?
Well, yes, it does sound excessive, although some of the money, it's being sent by the states, by the way, but it's still excessive. And I think
it's still tax dollars, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. And I also believe that they've done a very bad job in messaging in terms of explaining to the American people what Obamacare is and what it represents. Because when you go line by line, you want to have no limit on how much you can spend per year. You want to have no lifetime limit. You want portability. You want no punishment for pre-existing conditions. People actually like it when you ask about it issue by issue, but they've done a very bad job messaging it.
Katie, what do you think about the Paul Bunyan ad? What's interesting, they're spending $9 million in Minnesota to get 1.3 million people signed up. I think if you were running a business, your return on investment on that would be a little bit sketchy.
Exactly, and we're talking about taking people off of their employer-based insurance and putting them onto the Obamacare rolls, and it is a $9 million problem, and it might not be the feds paying for it, but it is the states, and this is why the states complain about Obamacare and the cost to Obamacare. But in terms of the ad, I think it's a very misleading ad, because you have Paul Bunyan doing all of these extreme sports, getting hurt in a way that would be catastrophic, right? Something young people would be doing. But they don't mention the fact that Obamacare gets rid of catastrophic insurance plans, forcing young people to get into a system where they're paying a lot more for what they're not getting at the doctor's office.
Alan, what do you think about that?
I think you're getting a lot more by participating. And by the way, the more people who participate, the effort to get people to participate is because the more people who participate, the less money it costs everybody. As it is now, we are subsidizing those people who don't have health care, which is why the costs are so much. The idea here is just what Mitt Romney did in Massachusetts and ran away from when he ran for president, was to get everybody into the system, and so the prices go down. And going down in the exchange states, where they instituted the exchanges like New York, Maryland, and California, where the premiums are going down.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's an interesting number. I saw that number this morning as well, up 4%, which they say is a smaller increase than you have seen in recent years. But, the basic fact remains about getting young people in. They're going to be covered by mom and dad till they're 26. And if they do get sick down the road, they're going to be covered as well. So why would they shell money out of their pockets to get covered when they're going to get covered if they get sick?
Well, and they're not necessarily going to get covered, though. We've seen that young people like me, aren't really interested in paying for health insurance. You can actually, before Obamacare passed, get a pretty decent health insurance plan that covered the things that you needed. For example, a couple of trips to the doctor every year, catastrophic insurance. But now we're seeing this wealth transfer. It's not about getting more people into the system necessarily. It's transferring and getting a majority of young people into the system to pay for the high medical costs of the aging population.
Now. There's a wealth transfer now, because those who have insurance are paying extra because of those who don't have insurance, so they can be covered when they go to emergency rooms, for example, as the first place they go. That's the wealth transfer that's taking place prior to Obamacare.
All right, Alan and Katie, we got to leave it there. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Martha.